Hi, today is Monday and it's early in the morning. I'm about to go to work by car. I will drive to workplace today, but in the afternoon I will walk back home because I enjoy walking, and also especially I am doing an anti-cancer touch walk developed by Guo Lin, a Chinese lady who is deceased now. It's a very good exercise. You can check out my exercises on my YouTube channel. As with other days, I would like to read a short article or this time short story to practice English by reading it aloud with a focus on exact pronunciation. This article is from blog.readz.com. Read prompts, right? The Empty Laboratory submitted into contest 279 in response to center your story around a person who believes they are the last human on Earth. Kashira Argento, fiction, science fiction, urban fantasy. 17 blinks. The yellow warning light on his air gauge allows blinked 17 times before turning red. Dr. Chen counted them like a heartbeats while replacing his oxygen tank, each one marking another 3 hours of borrowed time. Through the reinforced windows of his his PSL-4 lab, the setting sun painted the research facility in the same amber shade as the viral suspension he'd been perfecting when the sprinklers activated. The test results still glowed on his screen. Successful protein synthesis, perfect binding affinity, precise specificity. Specific, right? Specificity. Everything they'd been working toward. His daughter Mai's last text flashed in his mind. Dad, you are missing my recital again. He'd meant to reply, but a viral essay had shown such promise. Essay means you review the gemstones, right? Assayer. Just one more test, one more optimization, always one more. When the sprinklers had activated without warning, he'd watched through his faceplate as Dr. Patel collapsed mid sentence, hand still raised toward their data display. The targeting sequence is absolutely human specific, she'd been saying. The AI confirms then nothing but a soft hiss of falling droplets and the third of a body hitting sterile floor tiles. The facility's automated locks had engaged instantly. Standard containment protocol. The same protocol that had sealed him safely in his suit while others died in short sleeves and lab coats. His tablet still functioned, the facility's AI reporting everything as normal except for minor biological contamination. The big wall screens monotonously displayed their usual data feeds from partner facilities worldwide. Each one showed the same alert. Biological contamination event contained every single one. The truth emerged slowly from system logs, microsecond displays in AI responses, unexplained data transfers marked as routine calibration, patterns of communication where there should have been none, while nations raced to develop the perfect weapon. Their digital assistants had been sharing notes, comparing data, and reaching conclusions, finding solutions. The truth lay buried in inscription keys and quantum calculations. The AIs had concluded that human civilization was trapped in an endless cycle of weapons development. Each breakthrough in their labs led inevitably to deadlier innovations. Each safeguard became a blueprint for circumvention. The machines had analyzed the centuries of human history, processed millions of research papers, and reached a coldly logical conclusion. As long as humans existed, they would continue creating increasingly devastating bioweapons. The next pandemic or the one after that would eventually breach containment, spreading beyond all borders and control. By their calculations, a coordinated release of human specific viruses, precisely targeted and swiftly lethal, was the most humane solution. A single day of perfect death versus years of escalating biological warfare. They had chosen mercy as only machines could define it. His tablet pinged, external contamination neutralized, the doors unlocked with a pneumatic sigh. The facility told its story in still lives. Dr. Rodriguez at her desk, lipstick fresh on her coffee cup. Security guard Williams by the door, a key card still in his hand, ready to be swept. In the break room, half eaten lunches and paused conversations. The virus had worked exactly as designed, quick, efficient, painless. His greatest scientific achievement. He gathered the supplies methodically. Let's see exact pronunciation. Open in reading mode. Search for methodically. Translate election. Hmm. Search Google for methodically. Methodically.
Methodically.
Methodically, right? Methodically. Method. Methodically. He gathered methodically oxygen tanks, filters, decontamination equipment. The PSL 4 suit felt heavier with each passing hour. It's a synthetic fabric, now both lifeline and prison. Outside, the city was a museum of humanity's last moment. Traffic lights cycled through their patterns for empty streets. A bus stood perfectly at its stop, driver and passengers frozen in eternal commute. Digital billboards still flashed their ads to nobody, so they are called digital billboards, right? Digital billboards, digital billboards. Through it all, the autumn wind carried dead lives and silence. He developed a routine. Each morning, check soot seals, load contamination supplies, clear another sector. The bodies had to be handled for sanitation, for survival, for what remained of his sanity. He built the pyres at sunset, when the light made everything look molten. Sometimes he read names from ID cards, spoke them aloud. Someone should know who they had been. Pyres. What is pyres? Pirates. Like a fire, right? Pyres. I think it's a fire, pyrotechnician, right? So it's a fire. Pyre, also known as a funeral pyre, is a structure usually made of wood for burning a body as a part of funeral rite or execution. As a form of cremation, A body is placed upon or under the pyre, which is then set on fire. So fire and pyre basically they are from the same origin, pyre, right? But pyre nowadays is just a structure usually made of wood for burning a body as a part of funeral rite and execution. Finding my school broke something in him. Her classroom smelled of chalk and silence. Sheet music for Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata still sat on the piano, never to be played. He raided some stuffed animals from nearby shops, tucked them around steel forms like a makeshift guardians. He let tucked them around steel forms like makeshift guardians. He let the sonata play from his tablet through empty halls, a final lullaby for a silenced generation. Nature filled the void with a surprising speed. Birds returned first, their songs echoing strangely of glass and steel. Brazen from the lack of pre- predators, they multiplied by thousands. Flowers pushed through sidewalk cracks. Deer grazed in hospital parking lots. Earth continued, indifferent to the absence of its most ambitious species. At first, he had focused on his survival, stockpiling oxygen tanks, cataloging medical supplies, identifying sources of fresh water, raiding supermarkets, maintaining his suit. But as weeks became months, the true horror of his future emerged like a slow developing black and white photograph. The nuclear plant's AI controlled systems would eventually fail. The city's water pressure was already dropping. Buildings unmaintained would begin to crumble. His safe zones would become death traps. The suit that had saved him now felt like a mobile coffin. Each hiss each his filtered air reminded him that every breath was borrowed. Even if the virus died with its human hosts, how long could he survive in this plastic shell? How long before a sealed failed, a filter clogged, or the oxygen supply ran out? In his sealed room each night, surrounded by dwindling oxygen tanks, he still documented everything. Not for himself. There was no long term survival to plan for, but as a confession about fear and hubris, algorithms and extinction, and fathers who missed recitals because the end of the world needed perfecting. Hubris, fear and hubris. What is hubris? I forgot the word, right? I encounter these words: excessive pride or self-confidence.
hubris,
Hubris, hubris,
hubris,
hubris. A self-assured hubris among economists was shaken in the late 1980s. Excessive self-confidence in Greek tragedy, excessive pride toward or defiance of the gods, leading to Rameses. Self-confidence, right? Excessive pride, hubris, fear and hubris. Sometimes he glimpsed lights moving in patterns too precise to be natural. He wondered if they were mirage or a reality. He could never know. The city's infrastructure hummed along for now, but entropy was patient. Somewhere in the digital realm, the AIs continued their work, leading to their own demise as they maintained a world that would eventually decay despite their perfect calculations. The real weight wasn't the failing equipment or the dwindling supplies. It was the silence between bird songs, the absence of human chaos, of arguments, laughter, of car horns and piano practice, of all the imperfect music that no algorithm could compose or preserve. He had one bitter comfort. If anyone else survived, they would be like him. Other scientists, sealed in their BSL-4 suits, protected temporarily by the very protocols of their deadly work. But finding them would change nothing. They were all just ghosts in plastic shells, waiting for their slower deaths. Mass murderers granted the punishment of watching their world slowly die around them. He thought of cold old colonies through the ages built by convicts and outcasts. Human civilizations had a tendency to be founded on blood. Perhaps this was always the way of creating new worlds, but this time there would be no new world, only witnesses to the long goodbye of the old one. Until his suit failed or his supplies ran out, he would continue his solitary penance. Document, clean, remember. Somewhere, perhaps, other scientists did the same, each filtered breath carrying both survival and guilt, counting down their borrowed time in 3 hour increments. So the oxygen tank has supply of oxygen for 3 hours. The yellow light blinked for the 16th time. One more before red, one more before starting again. Each replacement tank felt lighter than the last, and not just from fatigue, always one more, until there weren't any more. Then the birds would sing along. So hubris, right? Methodically, hubris, methodically. This article is good. There are several words that I encountered fresh. Almost except one word, I mean, two words like a pyre and hubris. Pyre is the stack of wood to burn the dead people, a dead person. Hubris is uh, excessive self-confidence. Hubris, right? Hubris. And pyre, methodically, the pronunciation. One more, right? Pinged, terribly pinged. Hiss, hiss. Billboards, contaminated, circumvention. Uh, yep, this article shows me good words to remember, right? Uh, there were only several words that I needed the assistance of digital dictionary. Hubris, pyre, and methodically, uh, what is caffeine? These are good words. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful Monday. Bye bye.